Go. Okay, turn that down. What's up? Not much. Trying to get the camera here set up and everything. What's up is I got something to show and hope we get more people in here. Possibly pull the clutch off and whatnot. I started making a video of this and I got to popping the clutch off and I figured I'd tell a little bit of something about what I found, and surprised to see it in this chainsaw. At least to my surprise, I'm surprised to found it. What are you working on? I'm working on the next video, but I've decided to have you guys live. Jeremy wasn't live yesterday, to my surprise. Well, okay, scratch that. Surprise, I was at work, but I didn't have a notification, clear stuff and everything, and I understand he's got his new job, so we're working on the 895 101B. Swap. Get organized here is what I'm doing. Just got back from the store, had to grab some hardware to be able to hopefully pull this clutch off is what I'm doing. So hopefully everybody can see everything and whatnot, and my shirt's too short, but whatever, right? Just got back from shopping, grocery shopping, hardware shopping, whatever. You got a 795, well that's an awesome saw right there. Put a 4-foot bar on it. It'll pull it. 5-foot bar will pull it. It's pretty much 795 right here with the gearbox. That's all it is, same engine. Kind of wondering if it used, no, it has too many of the components for it. Too many of the components. So, I'll show here what's going on. So, I posted up in McCall Chainsaws North America what was going on, and I did not bring, oh, I got to hold water. We'll do that. Throat gets dry and scratchy. So what goes on, a 170, I missed mine. Good high revving saw there. So what is, started making the video, tore everything down. I put pictures up in the group and yeah, modified saws, and my personal page, McCall Chainsaws North America, is where I put that on. And I had to get the clutch off, and I know I need hardware for that and stuff. But I couldn't remember what the thread size is for the clutch, and I still don't think I got it right, but either way, to pull it out. And I took off the starter mechanism, and immediately, that's not gear oil in there. And that's not a steel clutch drum in here. I'll show you all. What's inside here? That is a fiber clutch. These were seen on the 640 and 840s that I know of. Now this isn't confirmed. The numbers on it say 63, 629, that is a 795, 895 engine. And it's been rebuilt. I can see it's been into before. There's so many tooling marks. And also the JB weld, epoxy, whatever, over the plugs there. It's been into before. So that's what we're dealing with here. I mean, that's very clearly ATF fluid. You can smell it. It's red. The fiber clutch ones ran. The fiber clutch ones ran ATF in them to help it not slip, but also the ATF is like a 7-weight, 7-weight oil, and it's not very protective against gears. So I think it was more of a give and a take going on, but it's an auto oiler, and the 640s, 840s, 890s, which another guy I know says his 890 has a fiber clutch, but only the 240 series there that I know of and that I've read and everything have the setup. So it's kind of weird. I don't know if it had one of those gearboxes tossed on it because the other gearbox exploded, or this had a fiber clutch put onto it because that was all there was. I don't know, but I figured that was a pretty cool find. What's up, Levi? Good to see you. Glad you're all here. Hopefully this will, I won't be on too long, I don't think. I'm going to have a cookout, have my dad over and stuff like that. But for now, figured I'd bring y'all in. Is this thing even charging? Yeah, it is. It just doesn't say it is. Whatever. Tablet dies. I don't care anymore. Good excuse to get a replacement. So, got to get the clutch off to get to the 4 bolts behind. There's something that I also want to see if this engine had it done or not. On the gear drives, from what the IPLs show, this seal right here, this crankshaft seal. Now, in the early gear drives, the seal is installed in this direction. Hopefully that's coming in clearly. Yes, it is. So the crank seal here is installed this way on direct drives and on the early gear drives. Now, in the manual, it says to flip this around on gear drive engines to keep the oil from the gearbox going into the crankcase. But anybody I've asked about, hey, when they put one of these engines into a gearbox setup or whatever, did, you know, like people who did it professionally, did you flip this around on the cart blocks? And I never got an answer. Oh, YouTube definitely doesn't like me. Well, they crashed on me there. Gotta go back to me now. That's still live, right? Yeah. About time for a different tablet. This one is about shot. Let's see here. I got a 210, 710, and a Pro Max 700. I've got a 510G and a 700 up there that I'm not even worried about it, to be honest. I need to make sure I have all comments on. I don't know why it doesn't default to that. So we're going to try to attempt to take the clutch off with you guys here. Attempt to. See where I can get to and everything. But also, I want to get this done this weekend. I don't think that's going to be a possibility. We've also got some mag rot going on in here. So I need to get some Pour 15 tank liner to stop that, clean out, and get that to stop. This looks like it was a running saw when put up. And then it just kind of, that was it. I could tell, and I say this in the video, but you guys are here. I can tell that this thing, somebody was into the carburetor a lot on this. At least the witness marks on all the stuff, all this hardware is just phenomenal, wore down and stuff. Somebody was always in it for something. The carburetor screws are just like been into multiple times on this. This is one of them flatbacks. I'm not a big, person on them. I mean, here's the screw for the air hold down. Look at that. It is just completely like it's been into 1,000 times. Somebody's been in here trying to adjust it. Somebody's trying to make it work. I mean, got one of the screws down here. It's just been into it multiple times. The air shroud screws, or at least the one screw that's left that didn't fall out. I mean, completely hacked over. Now this one probably more for cleaning purposes, but the block itself, it's still pretty dirty. So that's why I have a suspicion on this. It was running, but problematic, and they just got something else in the end. The governor was bypassed at some point, but they didn't clip off the air wing here. They left it. So, I don't know. Kind of weird. If it could tell the story, it probably would. Well, let's try to get this off of here. I know I'm using a steering wheel puller. I need to find a good puller. If you got a link to a good puller, put it in Amazon or something. Put it down there. Put it in the comments for me for one of these. These are very narrow, so I had to go long bolts on it to. These are for the flywheel. That's for. I don't have to take the flywheel off of this engine, and the 101B has spark, so I don't even have to deal with that. But we got to get the gearbox off of it. I got to pull the clutch. There's 4 bolts behind it. I think I've got all the bolts off of the support onto the stuffer. So we'll be there. I will have to use the stuffer off of this one because cart ones have ribbing on them, and I can't use that. unfortunately, because they stuff better for more power, but it's still going to have more power than this, which this engine is not locked up. I don't know what was stuck with it, but it looks really good on the inside, so we'll figure out what to do with that here shortly. Same old Harbor Freight Polar I've always been using, minus this is a brand new one. Probably, I know there's better Polars out there. Had to get some really crappy machine screws. I've had to use these before to pull these, but they'll do the job. If it pulls out, then, well, I guess I have a reason to get an extractor kit. That's what I was going to buy when I was at Ace. I was going to buy a screwdriver set. I still haven't bought a good set. Alright, whatever. I know these seem excessively long, but the bolts are going to have to suck in a bit, so. What's going on here? Who's jammed? What? Oh, it's the washer jamming me. Can't make this stuff up. I mean, I've got a flat blade, but so hopefully we can pull the clutch off and remove a gearbox while I'm staring at it here. Really wish I could have found a hex head in 6" in this size, but they don't make them. Yeah, sorry it took so long to get a video out. It's, like I said, I've just been busy with life. Yesterday was the last scheduled Saturday for my job, so hoping that we're not going to have to do too many more of those this year. So we can get back to basics here. There we go. See, longer these are, because if I got shorter ones, they want to go out. Got the longer, but I'm kind of wondering if these are too long. I got to go with the 4" ones. And I'm thinking I might have to. I have a very good, I might make it. Oh, I forgot to undo the nut, but I'm thinking I'm going to have to use the 4" ones. Bless it. What are you all up to? Besides trying to stay cool. Thankfully the AC's working great in here at 73, according to the temperature thing. Why am I? Alright, we'll have to go with the 4" ones. You can always cut you guys down later. Forgot that tip was magnetic. And one of the washers said I'm out. Cool. Never have it our way, can we? This isn't Burger King for sure. Whatever, just use one of these washers that comes with the kit. Oh, it came with all the washers I needed. That's fine. Four-inch. We'll see how much this fights me to go on. Oh, back this out. 9/16 wrench is what I'm going to need. I need to bust that nut off. What are the odds of that coming off smoothly? I don't know. I need a piece of rope to put down the spark plug hole, which is, I might get lucky and it'll bust free without that. 9/16, I think it is. Clutch nut doesn't look like it's mauled over at all, so I'm about to change that. Like it may have been into one time for that. Those rags are going to go flying here. Oh yeah, everywhere. That's going to be a pain in the butt to take off. All right, let's get some rope here. Get the spark plug out carefully. I've already made a mess of the ATF fluid, so I'm not too worried anymore. Get it here over the edge. So I don't know how many of you actually know this trick. Pretty much all of you should. If you don't, you're about to learn something. As a piston stop, that's the wrong size. You go up here. Yep, don't impact. Oh, that's a big one. Good gravy. I'm not impacting it in, I'm impacting it out. And of course, I've had this out before. Nasty. Some rope. Actually, I'm not going to ruin that starter rope. That's already mostly ruined. It's some rope. Not yay long. Yeah, these scissors are just wonderful. Get the piston on compression. And I can see when it's doing it here. Don't put it through your exhaust port. Big no-no. Cram a bunch of it in there, as much as you can stuff in there. That works as a really, really good piston stop. Probably one of the best piston stops that you could do. And now to keep making a mess. There we go. Just ATF everywhere. Everywhere. Perfect. Now to get our breaker bar and our 9/16. Breaker bar, breaker bar. Breaker bar with adapter. And our socket. I went the wrong way. There we go. There we go. Just like that. Now, you're not supposed to use impacts on the cranks. I know. What's up, Joey? All right, well, that's broke free. Can you tell I carefully thought about the layout of everything in here? It's still a basket case. Loosen your nut just enough. Please tell me that clutch did just be nice if it freed itself. That's just a crank plate side side. All right, now we can put our clutch puller on. Now that I've successfully covered the workbench and ATF, everything should be very well lubricated. What's up, Zachary? Oh wow, we got some. Levi, do you like trains? I work for Great Smoky Mountains Railroad in North Carolina. I'm from Clyde, North Carolina. I'm not too far from Bellhopper either. I've never really been into trains, but a guy I know that works for them, who I got my Fraser tiller off of, he loves them. He does it for a living, collects his stuff. I mean, trains are what keep America running amongst many other things. They're an inconvenience when you're in traffic in town. You got to get home, and there's one train left that goes through town. But the big steam ones are awesome. I love them. How am I doing, Joey? Good. 1 day off this week. Perfect. That's exactly what I needed. 2 days? No, you can't do 2 days. 1 day is all I need. Trying to get this clutch off of here and not lose my sanity and mess it all up right now. Get the clutch off of here. Get this gearbox off because it was for the video. And I decided to go, which I'm not doing right now because I already have started disassembly on the 895. But I wanted to come on here and show you guys, if you didn't see it from the beginning, that this has a fiber clutch in it, which is unusual to find in an 895 because they were metal clutches. So this has a fiber disc with ATF fluid in it. I figured that'd be something pretty cool to show off. Actually, we'll leave that on there. This is the pain in the butt part, putting the puller on with, that's definitely not the correct type of puller, but it'll do the job. This is why I like the 6-inch bolts better, and hardware that functions with me in my pea brain. This is the part you don't see on camera, is me struggling with equipment. This is the day-to-day life of dealing with what you've got until you can make what you need. This is not like me at all. That washer is too small there, it just keeps slipping through the cracks. And I had a big one and I lost it. So that's going to be my fun one. And I know this works because I've had to do this before. With this same one. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to have to bend stuff just a little bit to make it work. Find me a manual that doesn't say not to bend stuff, because I'm going to be that guy that does it. I actually work for Norfolk Southern too, and they just merged with Union Pacific Railroad so they could take freight and cold there from coast to coast. I understand. I've heard of how one does one side of the U.S., one does the other. But the reality is, at the end of the day, you merge to be better. Like, only one I can think of at the very second is like XM radio and Sirius radio, both competing to be satellite radios. And in the end, it's like, how about we just join together and be a good one? So we've got two. You know, it makes sense. Just get to the contract deals, work together. Or somebody else is going to come in and do it, and then you both are going to go out. It just makes sense of it. Yes, I need to get screwdrivers. All right. Now we've gotten through the hell that is that. Now to spend. This is another. Maybe you do, maybe you don't do. Impact drive. You would think all the lubrication in the world would pop off, but no, it's not how that works in my world. There we go. A little hammer. Now the clutch is off. Well, loosened. Now to reverse all that work. Yeah, don't sit there and keep cranking on it. Put pressure on it. Hit this with a hammer. Right off. And now I got to get the nut out, which is a locking style nut, thankfully. I've had one of those nuts come loose on me on the CP125, and the keyway, which we'll talk about too, was kind of broken on the crank just a little bit. It got hurt, and why I do not put keys on my clutches anymore. Because it's the taper that holds it that does all the work. There we go, see? You can make equipment work. What's up? Not much, Corey. I was showing the difference, and I'm going to rip it out for you all and get a better close-up of it. Showing this 895 has something different inside of it. It has a fiber clutch setup that was supposedly only on 2 models, but it could interchange with about 8. I started making the video on putting a 101B cart engine into the 895. I talked about it on the last live video and on the 185 video, and you were just loose. Don't even go back on your taper. All right. There we go. Am I at a microfiber cloth in here? Yeah, of course I am. All right, we'll just make a mess. All right, so I got to get the key out. So most Macs have keys in them. I run keyless because the taper is what holds the taper, and then the pressure of the nut on it is what holds it and keeps it from slipping. The key, I'm not really sure of. If you try to rely on just the key to hold it, you're going to break stuff real quick. Been there, done that. I've had saws come to me like that, and then I've had saws that I've had happen. All right, a screwdriver, a flat blade that I might possess. I try to get this key out to get the clutch out, and then I'll show you guys. There we go. Don't want to lose this either, so that's why I bought this other table right here that you guys see. I decided to go on an L shape so I can disassemble here, put the crap here. What's holding it? There we go. All right. Yeah, look how pretty that is in there. And guess which way the seal is? Let me know. Is it the standard way or the gearbox way that we described earlier? Because now it's starting to tell a story of what's going on here. All right. Which means something. All right, so here it is. This is the fiber clutch set. You really can't find these anymore. See the fiber lining? No, we're focusing here. See the fiber lining? No key right hand starters too. The taper holds the clutch. It doesn't allow it to slip. If it's slipping, it's a bad taper or on one of 2 things or whatever. That's what that would be. So the clutch would have a bad taper on it, it's slipping. On a flywheel, it's the same concept. The key is only there to time it. It does not hold the flywheel on. And we start on the left side on most Macs, and it doesn't slip on us. The taper is what's doing all the holding. There's guys that advance the timing and everything. You have to take the key out to do that, and it doesn't slip. You just have to tighten it down properly, and it's that causes that to hold. So here is the unique setup. The fiber on the inside of this clutch. That was on the 640 and the 840s. This has a fiber setup. You have to run ATF fluid, automatic transmission fluid, inside of this, or supposedly the gear oil is going to make it slip too much. At the sacrifice of you might be hurting your gears on ATF, it doesn't really, I don't think it really protects as well. Now, need to find something to clean up with is what I need. Used up my last rag there on the workbench. I don't want to wipe it down. Anyways, so that seal, you remember how we were talking about, for those that just got here, we're talking about this seal right here. This seal in the MacBook shows that you have to install it the opposite direction on gear drives in order to supposedly to keep the gear oil from going into the engine. But on the early gear drives, it's installed this way, and direct drives, it's installed this way. And you know what I'm thinking is going on here? I'm going to show you guys something that I was wanting to find out, which this one doesn't look like it was doing any problems. Which direction is that seal in? That's right. That's in the direct drive position. And then there's bolts down here. I think just these three I got to take out. The fourth one, hopefully it's not hidden behind there. I will be so mad. But I don't think there's a fourth. Take these 3 bolts out, and then this gearbox should come off. Oh, just real quick, he doesn't ask me to do this. If you need gaskets, go visit Bryan's website. Get these cool decals too. But Old Saw Shop, that's where you're going to get your gaskets. Those are the gaskets I'm using. All out of my pocket. I didn't ask him for anything. He said, if you need anything, let me know. Well, I've never been the guy to really ask too much. So, this, either I'd have to look in the IPL, either was installed from the factory like this, or it was just something that it could have been either way. This could have been a direct drive engine that was put into an 840, because the engine looks like it's been rebuilt. It has marks on it saying it's been rebuilt. So this could have been an 840 at one point and got a bigger engine put into it at a cool 4 more cc's. I think 840s were what? Correct me if I'm wrong, 99 cc. So it could have had a replacement engine put into it, and that's why it is an 895 with an 840 gearbox, which I'm kind of getting suspicious on, because that seal be in that direction. That's my theory. If you got a different theory, let me know. So we got to get everything finished unbolted here. Yep, 2-to-1 gear ratio, which is awesome. Gears are in fantastic shape. Got all their teeth. So we're good there. Oh yeah, somebody's definitely been in here. They're folding over of the the lock tabs or whatever is absolutely just wretched. Yeah, just 3 bolts holding this on. Make sure we got the, that's gonna make a mess. Make sure we've got all the bolts out we gotta get that one off. If you didn't know, 7/16 socket and flat blade will take you down most of the way on one of these. You ever think to yourself, I want a nice steady hobby, I'm going to fix McCullough chainsaws, that'll do. Definitely a steady hobby, that's for sure. Okay, you know, we'll just take that off later, it doesn't want to come off. Where's my 7/16 at? I know I'm guilty of using an impact, but if you're just getting here, let me know. Trying to keep semi-organized here, you know, put the hammer back up as I go, because it's all right here anyways. Screwdriver I will need the hammer, we'll just leave them right there. So we're going to need to take that off. I need to make sure all the stuff for the gearbox is disconnected on this side from the stuffer, reinforcer, and the gearbox support. Alright. Get in here. We'll have you all here too. Why don't we just bring you all in? See what we can do here. I can accommodate my guests the best I can. There we go. Let's see here. Let's see. We need to get the tabs unfolded over. So you take your non-chisel device here. Remember, screwdrivers are not chisels. Well, I folded that one over real good. Yeah, this definitely I think it's had an engine transplant. I think this was an 840 at one point, but I can't confirm on anything on the gearbox that would indicate that. Let's see here, how to get behind that one. First, you ignore it, all the signs and symptoms, and you just go right past it. Oh, that's just gasket there. That's just the gasket, we're fine. I'm not splitting the case here though. No need to. But if that gasket is in my way, I know, I see some of you peeking, like putting your nose over, trying to see more of it. Okay. I'm going to cut some of this gasket away, which are also on the website too. I thought about saving that flat back kit, but I think I'm going to do something different. That flat back carb, I mean. I thought about saving it, but I think I have other plans for you guys. It's a 101B. It wants fed more. I'll be so mad if there's another screw under there, but I can't imagine there being one because you can't fit it with the gear. And that would be a really dumb design. I can't remember. That's my problem. It's been so long since I've ripped apart a gear drive like this. My first Mac I ever rebuilt, I thought screwdrivers, oh man, it covers it up. I mean, it can be a chisel. Sure. Everything's a hammer except screwdrivers. Those are chisels. I'm just putting it for, safety out there. Warning, I'm dumb. I'm here just having fun. Do stuff at your own risk. Guess I should have said that at the beginning. Okay. Theoretically, that should be the only thing from just holding it to it. Because I don't see any other... That just passes through... Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, yep, there's... Oh, look, just more fluid coming out. Son of a biatch. All right, where's that? God bless it. There's another one. No. Is that right? There we go. There is so much holding these. Some relationships out there that need to be... There we go. There it is. It's off. And we're back to making a mess. Wonderful. Hey, gearbox. That was the last screw. There we go. Get out of here, engine. We're not interested in you. We might get it running later, side note. Getting the exhaust off these are a pain in the butthole. But... as we see, that seal is installed the same. So I'm suspecting that this possibly was indeed a 795 engine that got put onto an 840 or a 640. I don't know. I'm thinking it might have been I don't know. I'd have to look. I would have to honestly look at it, but that's kind of my suspicion of what's going on. Somebody needed a replacement engine. So we've got that engine set to the side. Ducky, happy. So if you've never torn one of those off, seen that process done, well, there you go. Clutch. I've got to clean up everything here, all the parts and stuff. The gearbox looks fantastic. One thing I gotta remember, and I made this mistake one time. Be sure you put your oiler rod in and then put it on the block. Don't forget it. The oiler on this is locked up. The irony of that. You have to access it with this screw right here, and there's a ball, springs, and stuff behind there. And you got to use your oil rod, push it in and out, and stuff like that. I know, it's the irony. But this is a 2-to-1 gear ratio. So, which should be God's plenty. I could go a big sprocket, have him put this on the kart engine. Let's have a dumb idea here. Let's take a look. What's this going to look like on here? This is why you're supposed to join up on the channel. That's going to be wild. That's going to be wild. Tim Toolman. Tim Allen be proud right now. Or however he says that. The guy's awesome. Man, that is going to be wild no, we're not keeping this intake. I want to do that. I so like just look at it like we gotta do keep. No, we're gonna put that as a stock looking saw that had this that has this rough engine and rough finish body on it and everything. That's what we're going to do. I promise we're gonna take some kart engines I have in the house and put one of them on a gearbox. My Project Loud and Slow that I was building last year. I have an MC30 on the shelf that I'm going to do the same thing with, but I have a burned up 185 outside, and it has a 3.6 to 1 gear ratio on it. And well, you put a megaphone muffler on that and that low gear ratio and a kart engine screaming, it'll eventually get through a log loud and slow. So that was the intent on that one. That's going to look awesome. But yeah, this is my, I've only ever seen one of these before, and Richard, the chainsaw guy on YouTube, he showed a video of one of these, and that's the only one I've ever seen of an 895 put into this. So it was, okay, why can't I do that? Now, one thing I'll have to do, I did point it out in the video, the last live video, that these engines here do not have a D port. This gas tank does, has that D port. Matt guys will know this. I'm gonna have to JB weld this shut and have just this opening right here so that doesn't, so it will run. And these reeds look fan-frickin-tastic. We're gonna leave them alone. So we'll have to do that. I'm gonna let you guys know what carburetor I'm planning to run. I had it on the race saw before it became the race saw, and it was a Walbro WB37. You get them cheap on Amazon. The one I had ran fantastic on it. It was beautiful. I was an idiot, and the boost port was coming undone on it because one of the screws had stripped on the block. So I thought that was the problem. I said, screw it, tore down in a racing mode, and then by the time I got to that, I'm like, oh, that's what the problem was. It had an air leak on the cylinder. It would have been one head. It was meant to be a sleeper firewood saw. But either way, I know those carburetors work. I have the tools now to be able to not just 3D print an adapter, but I'm going to drill and tap for an adapter to put on the Mac and on the Mac ones, so that we can have that big old, much larger carb, a more modern carb put onto one of these, and it'll fit in the airbox just fine. That's my plan. But yeah, that's the plan. That's my plan. This is gonna be absolutely wild. Like I said, it was I thought I was gonna get this 895 running, but it was stuck and it ain't. So I had this idea come up to put this in it, and now the engine's not stuck, but I'm still going through with this project because I've got this 101B, I've got another 101 in the house, I've got a 101 behind me, I've got them on the shelf over here. I've got a rough 101 behind me. I'll get it to you guys to show you. It was originally going to be the engine for the chainsaw. And it can still be saved. It just needs bored out and love done to it. I'd like to find out another project to use with a 3/4 PTO. That'd be pretty cool. So we've got a rough looking shape one there. I've got a BP one up there to get running for you guys. I've got a lot for you guys. It's just doing little at a time. I've got a motorcycle to completely restore. And then I've been riding my other bike and stuff like that, all week. It's fun. It's fun stuff. Maybe y'all have a good one. Got to go eat the family. I'm at least 5 hours ahead of y'all. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to wrap it up here shortly too and everything, because clean up, get burger patties made and whatnot, go pick my dad up here in about an hour, bring him over and stuff like that. So called him up, what you doing? Just at home watching TV. He's retired, so he sits at home bored. My brother, who lives with him and everything, helps take care of him. He's retired. He's diabetic on dialysis, and he lives with us. He's in Colorado right now on a little bit of a vacation. So it's like, oh, okay. What's Dad doing? My one day off, I'm going to visit Dad. I want to say hi to him. Come over, have some burgers and barbecue chicken. But that's the plan. But as you see here, I'm thinking it was an 840 at one point, possibly a 640, and had an engine swap into it. I don't think this was a complete 895, even though... So the top doesn't say it. Doesn't have the tag. It is a knob like this. So it could have been a 795 engine at one point, tossed into an 840. That's kind of my suspicion. That's my suspicion. That's my thinking on this, and that's what I'm going to say happened. Or a 640. Either way, it was a big boy. It definitely earned its keep. Fed families, built houses, helped build houses, stuff like that. So, but now we're going to have a 101B screaming at the top of its lungs, and we're going to do a direct drive versus a gear drive. I'm going to do a cutoff on that one. And which one can I stop the chain on, and which one can't I? Well, this one I won't be able to, but it's be pretty cool. I'm going to put a GEM muffler on this one. I'm going to steal it off of something on the shelf up there. I promised myself I wouldn't do, but it's an ugly looking muffler. Be perfect on this. So I'm going to wrap up this live and everything. My head's completely cut off in this. I wasn't even paying attention to that. There we go, much better. So, Jeremy, I know you couldn't go live yesterday. I'm doing this. Keep us updated on your new job and everything. Maybe I'll call you later, message you, see what's up. I know you said you were wanting to do lives from a hotel room or whatnot and everything. Keep us up to date and whatnot. I'll do the best I can to fill in chainsaw stuff for you. I can't really answer Husqvarna or Steel questions. Which one's better? Yes. If I had the choice, I'd buy a Husky. That's just me. So, all right. I got to go. You know where to find me. I hope to do this on more Sundays and stuff like that and everything and whatnot. Go interact with you all more and stuff. So now I've got to update the video for you guys on the whole process. I should have been video recording, just time lapsing the whole thing, but stupid me didn't do that. So anyways, till then, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, everybody. Make it through this week. I'll see you next week. Same with me. How do we end this? I keep forgetting. Oh, the X up here. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.